Hour 2 Overdrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. What an hour we have. Luke Willson in studio on the Thursday nighter tonight. His take on what looks like it's going to happen. Russell Wilson stepping in for the Steelers. 4-2 Steelers. Russell Wilson looks like he's going to get the start against the Jets on Sunday Night Football. I don't understand that. I don't understand it. Like Justin Fields, I'm not his biggest supporter, don't get me wrong. But
and he even admitted, Fields said, you know what, I haven't played that great. But to go to Wilson, good luck with that one.
Exactly. Like if this was a stud, in his prime coming back, like the true number one rehabbing, obviously you're going to do that. But Russ, the last 3 years has been a mess.
Yeah.
And you just feels like you're messing with mojo here. And
do you think smart people would sit down and say, what's the best and worst case scenarios for both guys starting, Fields and Wilson? Mm-hmm. And the answer is Fields is your best option if you just put everything together. Just do it.
That's the way it's been going for them. They've been winning games. And, again, maybe this is a big picture play where they don't think they can win in the playoffs with Fields and they need to just cross their fingers and hope Russell Wilson can make that happen for them. He does have Super Bowl success in the past, playoff success in the past.
Maybe they're just seeing, Hayes, if Russell Wilson's got one last gasp.
That's got to be the logic here.
I'm surprised you guys are so surprised by this. Has Fields been
he hasn't been great. That's not the point.
This is the amount of yards he's thrown through for each week. 145, 131, 312, nice. 245, 117, 156. Mm-hmm. Why is this so surprising?
Now, he runs the ball pretty well. Like, his rushing numbers are probably decent. But they're 4-2, and it's the replacement. What do you think Russell Wilson's going to bring?
I think he can throw the ball deep. I think he's going to be more accurate than Fields.
Dude, have you watched that guy play the last 2 years?
He's been awful.
Have you watched Fields?
Yes. We understand what Fields is. We get it. And if that's the logic that I know what Fields is and we got to hope Russ turns the clock back, I can reason with that. I get it.
The plan was Wilson was going to start.
More than likely, and then he got injured.
At the end of the day, Mike Tomlin's sitting at his desk, and the GM comes in and says, I got you two fresh quarterbacks. We're really turning the page. And he said, who are they? And he said, Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. He probably said, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Passed out. Probably passed out.
Have you been watching Kevin Stefanski with the Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, he's handcuffed. That's a guy that is handcuffed that the owner has told him this is how it is going to work here.
Would you try
this
to
is what
give,
he says.
signals,
this is what he says in his presser after the game. Yeah, he's our quarterback next week. Mm-hmm. And he wants to just
he's
run
dying
away.
Inside.
Shouldn't he just wink? He should wink or something, like he knows.
That's what should happen. Someone needs to whisper, nod twice if you're being held hostage when it comes to Deshaun Watson.
I'm telling you, that's a dangerous game. You got an athlete like that has an appetite where he can just go out there and do whatever he wants, and there's just no consequences, and he's got guaranteed money. That's a dangerous
game, man. And, man, do they hate on him in Cleveland.
For lots of reasons.
Maybe a little tease, Hazy
well, Jonas,
list.
They were loving him. They were loving him because it was like, you know what? We'll forgive you for whatever the nonsense you were doing away from the football field, and you're going to save the Browns. And then this happened, and everyone just turned on him and said, you scumbag.
Yeah, you're killing us, man.
You scumbag.
You're killing us here. Luke Willson coming up in about 25 minutes. Bruce Boudreau will join us here momentarily. Game of the night tonight. Is it Edmonton and Nashville or Vancouver and Florida? Which one is a bigger game? You also got Golden Knights in Tampa, Jersey,
Tampa's been off to
in
a good
Ottawa.
start, too.
Tampa's been great. Golden Knights have off to a pretty good start. They lost the other night in Washington. For me, it is probably the Vancouver game.
Damn right it is.
Because this is such an opportunity and a fork in the road for them. Because it could be the best team you could play or the worst team you could play. Mm-hmm. You beat the champs, and all of a sudden you're at 4 points through 4 games. Pettersson scores a goal and looks good tonight. You're breathing easy, and you're like, we got through this. Bit of a storm, whatever, who cares? But if you don't have your A game and you play the way that you have through the first 3 games, and I don't know if Shelovs is playing tonight or not, but you don't get great goaltending and you get spanked by the champs, it will be panic inducing.
It'll get loud.
It'll get so loud in Vancouver.
I said in the preview show, the first and foremost, what Vancouver has to do is they have to prove that they're the real deal, that last year wasn't some just one-off, some crazy uptick where it was like everything went right, and they have to prove that. And they better get that Pettersson going, and they better get a save, or they're going to have some issues, and they're not small.
Well, Elias Pettersson, since March 25th, which is just after he signed that contract, he's making $11.6 million per year for the next 8 years.
Makes him like top 5 in the league?
Yes, absolutely. The last 27 games played, he has 2 goals. Both of them are on the power play and 12 points. He has 0 even strength goals in 27 games played, making $11.6 million. Here's a man that knows him well. Our TSN Hockey analyst joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Here's Bruce Boudreau. Bruce, can you possibly explain what's going on with Elias Pettersson?
I wish I could. No, but you know what? I got asked this question a lot the last couple of days, and when I was watching him the other night, he just didn't look happy. Like, I mean, he didn't, he works hard, he does all of that stuff, but it's either confidence or he just didn't look happy. And by the way, you're right. When my last year in Vancouver, we started off 0-3-2, and I knew I was fired already. It was a matter of time before they told me. But they can get on you pretty quick out there.
Well, listen, they got high expectations,
crazy unhappy,
right?
Brucey. Like, it's crazy unhappy. Obviously, there could be things going on behind the scenes, but he got the contract. And even if the way things were handled leading up to the contract pissed him off, wouldn't you think that kind of money and the situation that he likes being in would kind of make everything go away?
Yeah, you know what? Listen, when I say unhappy, it's just, I don't know if he's unhappy. It just
No, I totally see what you're saying, Bruce.
Step. But, the one thing about him is that I always loved about him, and I go to bat for him every single time because he was great for me. But he wants to be the best player out there. He wants to be the go-to guy. He wants to play against, like I remember playing against Edmonton. He says, make sure I play against McDavid all night long. I want to play against McDavid. Or, if there was a McKinnon, he'd want to play against McKinnon. And he wanted, like the first day I got there, when they made the coaching move, he said, listen, I can kill penalties. Kill me penalties. And so I started putting him at penalty killing. He wants all of that stuff. And maybe that he hasn't been able to do it, I think, or hasn't been able to get it done. It's really bothering him and affecting him. The other thing, too, is let's understand last year, his 2 line mates were Kuzmenko and Mikheyev. Neither one of them had a very good year. He wasn't playing with Brock Besser and whoever else was on the left wing. I mean, the year before when I was there, he was playing. JT Miller was his winger. I had JT playing because we had Bo Horvat, and Bo Horvat was the other centerman. So JT was playing on his wing, and it was Besser. So, I mean, it was like those guys. It's quite a difference when you're to get 100 points when you're playing with those guys than it is playing with Mikheyev, and Kuzmenko didn't have a very good year last year. So, I mean, it's, I'm not putting all the blame on him, but in the bottom line, when you're making $11.5 million, you're the one that has to, that's going to shoulder the blame because you're the guy that they're counting on.
Well, Bruce, how often have you seen in your career a player gets a big contract and maybe there's a pressure there that starts, is that something you could feel as a coach where this guy's pressing?
Oh, yeah, because they want to earn it. And so, I mean, whether they hold out or whether they know they're getting paid an awful lot of money, they want to go out there and prove to everybody that they're worth everything they did. And so, I mean, that's a little bit of pressure. I don't know if that's bothering him or not at all. But, I mean, it certainly has been the case in a lot of situations.
With Bruce Boudreau. Bruce, we were doing SportsCenter hit a couple of days ago about the Avalanche, or they came up in that conversation, and you said you maybe shouldn't be relaxing out there if you're an Avs fan, and they lost 5-3 again last night, gave up a 5-spot. Georgiev wasn't good. Defensively, not great. The Bruins went in there and beat them. They're 0-4, and it just looks ugly in Colorado. Like you weren't feeling great about them 2 days ago. Do you feel even worse after watching last night?
Well, I feel like Georgiev was a little bit better, but their defensive work is just horrendous right now. I mean, the game before, Manson gave away a puck for a breakaway. Makar gives a puck away for a breakaway. Makar goes around the net and chases a guy, and they make an easy goal. And right now, they're playing man on man in their zone, and it's just looking like they're all lost. I don't know if Bed's changed up the defensive system or not, but I mean, they're just definitely not in tune for the way they played, the previous couple of years. But I mean, they struggled a little bit defensively last year. But, I mean, not like they're doing now. I mean, 5 goals is the lowest amount of goals they've given up this year. So it's, I mean, it's only early. And I say that because I've gone through it where like I just said, we started out 0-3-2 in Vancouver. But the 1 year in Anaheim, we started out 1-7-2 and ended up winning the division. But it puts an awful lot of pressure on you every game. You don't have that thing where you can relax a little bit, and if you get a 3-game losing streak, you're still okay because you built up enough points, basically. But I mean, if I were them, the Central Division, Minnesota's playing great, Dallas is undefeated, Nashville's in the same boat as them, but Winnipeg is still, I think they're undefeated, but I mean, so they gotta start winning soon. And the worst thing that they could do is I think they play Anaheim next, and Anaheim's played really well against them in the past. And I hated playing non-playoff teams at the beginning. You look at those teams that were not in the playoffs last year, everybody's got a good record because they don't know they're bad yet. By Christmas, they'll know they're bad, and then they'll start stinking again. But right now, they think they're good. So they're a tough team to play against.
Brucey, I just want to touch one more time on Pettersson. From the coaching perspective, what is the play from a coach's perspective when you've got a talent making that much money who is that good? How do you approach it? Like, is it good guy, good cop, bad cop? Like, what are you doing with that player?
Well, you have to know the personality, first of all. But I mean, you can do it 2 ways. Look at the Edmonton coach. They sat out Draisaitl for a couple shifts last game, and he scored a goal and an assist in the last 2 goals, and it was great. And maybe that works. I don't know if that would work with Petey. I mean, sometimes you give a guy a lot more ice time, but he's playing 21 minutes a night right now, and he's not getting the job done. I'm sure Rick has talked to him. I'm sure they're trying every little thing to get him going. But, so, I mean, a lot of it's going to be just, hey, it's up to you. You got to do it yourself. You got to get better. And it comes in practice. And I'm sure they have the heart monitors on them all the time. They can tell how hard you're practicing during the practice. And so, I mean, if he's struggling with practicing hard, they can tell him you got to work harder. You got to do all of those things. But I would try every little thing until you hit on the thing that really hits a nerve that makes him play better, because they're not going anywhere without him playing better and without getting better goaltending.
The heart race being monitored during practice, like, did you ever have to go up to a guy and say, hey, your numbers are horrible, like, we know you're mailing this practice?
Are you alive?
What happened there,
Bruce? Yeah, well, we've said that, and we've showed them charts and say, look, for the last 10 practices, you've worked the least amount of your personal effort that you can give. You've got to start picking it up, or we can't play you any more than we're playing you. Things like that. There's no secrets anymore. You find out how much effort they put in, how hard they push, if they practice to their maximum or to their minimum. I mean, we can tell everything after every practice. And our strength guy used to come right in and show me the chart. I'd get the charts after every practice, and if it became something that was consistent with somebody, I mean, somebody can have an off day and be tired and whatever. But, I mean, if it became consistent, I'd be right in the guy's face and saying, look, I need more from you in practice, and this is why this isn't happening in the game.
Wow. How much do you think Peter Laviolette wanted one for you, back in your day?
Buddy, I told you when Lavi got the job, my roommate became Lavi's assistant coach. He just texted me and said, I'm not playing anymore. I'm going to be the assistant coach, and I'm warning you, Lavi hates your guts, and he thinks you're out of shape.
Can you imagine the heart rate monitor with Peter Laviolette back in the day? That'd be great. That's interesting, man. I would assume every team in the league must do that, Bruce. Like, you can't only do it in one spot.
No. The other thing, too, is the strength. Those guys would come up to me and say, you know what, the team overall is tired. And so I think they need a light practice today. Or the team has got a lot of energy, and I think you can really work them hard. Or they'd even say, listen, they're so tired or they're banged up, we need a day off. And you'd give them a day off, because the one thing we didn't want to go against is the medical guys and the strength guys. If they gave you some advice and you didn't take it and it went bad for somebody, then you were usually in trouble.
Yeah. With Bruce Boudreau, through 4 games for the Leafs, how much of this 3-1 record would you directly relate to Craig Berube, his presence, his approach? How positive has the Craig Berube effect been for you?
I think it's been great. I love Craig. I think he's doing a great job. He's doing exactly what he had to do with the Leafs. I'd be willing to bet that at 5-0 last night, he got really ticked internally. I don't know if he said it to anybody, that LA scored 2 goals, because he wants them not to think, okay, let's make it 8-0. He wants to shut them right down, because that's playoff hockey right from the beginning. So I mean, and I think if you look at their record, I mean, they don't allow 2 goals. 3 goals. I think the first game of the preseason, I might have missed one in between there. That was the only game that they allowed more than 2 goals for all this time, and that's how they're going to play. And that's why you're going to see that if you look at the 3rd and 4th lines, the goals are being distributed right now. Now Austin may not get 69; he might only get 63 this year, but they're going to know they're going to play the way you have to play from the game 1, practice 1 till the end of the season and be great defensively. And what you'll find out is the better you are defensively, the better you're going to be offensively. They will get more chances because other teams will start to take more chances. And the Leafs are so good at just counterattacking all the time here that they're going to be successful. No, I am a really big Craig fan, and I love what he's doing. It's exactly how I would want to do it.
Yeah. Well, and rolling those 4 lines, Matthews spoke on it after the game, Jonas, last night. Like, it's funny how the pendulum swung. When Babcock was here, that was an issue, that the big boys were only playing 17, 18 minutes, and these guys are still playing 20-plus. But then when Keefe came in, it was like, all right, Matthews, Marner, you're playing 24 minutes a night, 25. Yeah. And that didn't work, and now they've swung it back the other way, and it seems like Berube is going to do it whichever way he believes is right, which is the way it should be, as opposed to catering to what the market might think or, what analytics may suggest one way or the other. Not that it's an uninformed decision, but Bruce, it sure appears like he realizes I got to have a 3rd and a 4th line that I can play.
And what has been the problem for the Leafs the last 3 or 4 years is they haven't had the 3rd and 4th line. So when lines 1 and 2 don't start scoring, and there are times when they don't, then they weren't getting it from 3 and 4. I think who's leading their team in scoring is McMahon, right? And with 3 goals, I think. Mm-hmm. Is that
him and Willie are right there.
Yeah, that's his name. Yeah. So I mean, that's the best way. I've always believed it's a 4-line. You need 4 lines to win the cup. That's how Vegas won the cup. If you ever go back and look at the average ice time 5-on-5 for Vegas when they won the cup was about between 11 and 13 minutes between the 1st and 4th line. The balance and the strength of 4 lines is what wins you the championship.
Well, Bruce, can I just ask you, how long does it take you to form like an impression of a player? Like Bryan was talking about Peter Laviolette. Do you know within a week, a practice?
Period.
Yeah, do you know right away, like I like this guy or I hate this guy?
Well, I think you make up your mind really quickly, but the mind can be changed. If your first day and the guy's talking back to you and doesn't want to do it and you don't set him straight and everything like this, then you're going to really dislike him. But the guy might say, I'll give you an example. JT Miller can be very hard on a coach. He's a tough guy and everything else. But I mean, if you communicate right with him, and the one thing he does is he works his butt off. And I came to really like him a lot, like as a player, as a person, and everything. He's I wouldn't say high strung, but I mean he can all of a sudden go off the rails. But I mean, he's the kind of guy you want on your team, and he does everything to win. And if you don't work as hard as him, he gets upset. But you always heard the rumor that he was a hard guy to get along with, and I thought he was fabulous when I was in Vancouver.
And the heart rate monitor was strong for JT Miller in practice, Bruce, I'm assuming, or
always one of the hardest workers. Always one of the hardest workers.
Okay.
Brucey, did you wear a heart monitor on the ice or no?
I couldn't get one on over all of my green garbage bag and everything I had on to lose weight. So, no.
What a turn of events that would be if the players got access to your heart rate monitor.
Can you imagine, Brucey, if you had one on and they thought it was a player and you just lost it on a player, but it was your heart rate monitor?
It might have spiked a little bit. You're correct there.
We should do a show with heart rate monitors on, and that'd actually be a great little science project to see which one of the boys is fired up the most. All right, Bruce.
Well, you can usually tell by the color of the face.
Yes.
But a heart rate monitor on coaches would be a fabulous idea.
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see it when you blow a 3-goal lead or something, just to see what that monitor might actually look like by the end of the night. Great catching up with you, Bruce.
The Leafs do it once. Oh, it's great.
Yep, you're right about that.
Catching up with you guys.
We'll do it again soon. Thanks, Bruce.
Okay, talk to you later.
Bruce Boudreau joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Check out Maple Toyota's huge truck and SUV lineup, including Tundra, 4Runner, Highlander, and Grand Highlander in stock and ready to deliver. Visit mapletoyota.com. Yeah, I just think of some of the old, grizzled guys back in the day. If they showed up at the rink and were told to put a heart rate monitor on, take a breathalyzer test and put this heart rate monitor on, what kind of reaction you'd get.
Yeah, there'd be some interesting breathalyzer tests back in the day. Guys wheeling into their hotel room at 5 a.m. and on the ice at 9.
Imagine a breathalyzer test and a heart rate monitor after
in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, that's something I'd love to see. That's information, Jonas. Those are analytics that I trust.
You like those?
Yeah.
Couldn't you coordinate it if you wanted a day off the next day to just everyone kind of gives no effort? And then the coach is like, everybody's tired.
Yeah.
How are the cronies, by the way, the numbers community? Are they okay with everything? Are things trending in the right direction for them, or are they not happy with it?
Just as a people, or as a what do you?
As a community, I know you guys were like, you guys are just getting rough and tough, and we don't like the PDA and all this nonsense. Like, what? How is the community?
Well, I would say it's kind of fully integrated now. You guys bring up expected goals on your show. We've won.
You have infiltrated this show in some ways. Yeah, well,
the only two people that would bring up expected anything on this show are Jamie Traxxon and Mike Johnson.
I've heard you.
Dude, are you insane?
He always never referenced.
He has.
No, he's not.
I work with this guy for 3 hours every day. He knows for a fact. I have never once said that.
Never.
Word.
He may have responded to something that we've said, but I have never heard him out of nowhere say Bobby McMahon had a 64.1% expected goals.
So lay off him.
I've never heard him say that. To be fair to him, I have referenced it a couple times.
Okay.
Not a lot. Usually Johnny is the one that brings the heat there. Noodles will too. Specifically with goalies, like expected, goals saved above expected or whatever it is. Yeah. Valuable stat, very valuable. But that fourth line, they're leading the league, are they not? Ryan Reeves is the new Bob Gainey.
Yeah.
So do you believe in those, or is that something you might challenge?
We'll see. No, they've been good.
They've been very good.
I can't ding them for anything so far.
Very good. Okay.
But you know what's funny? That's why those numbers really need context. If you look at the numbers from last night,
not good.
Not good. It's
numbers,
that doesn't really matter at all.
That said, they were up so big.
Yeah, they have score effects. Anyway.
Okay, Jonas.
Don't worry about it.
I like it. I want access to heart rate monitors. That's what I want to see.
But what if you're like Hannibal Lecter and you just have a resting?
Some people have
rattled.
That. Yeah, great athletes, like marathon runners, that just is the way it goes. Their heart rate isn't going crazy all the time.
Yeah, they're just chill.
Yeah. But that would suck to sit down in the office and we're tracking you and you are doing nothing at practice.
I mean, it feels like an invasion of privacy, honestly.
Professional sports.
Doesn't it?
Dude, what are you talking about, man? That's your job. Like,
Yeah, but like they get to know your heart rate while you're practicing. I don't know.
Would you challenge that as
Yeah,
a member of the
sure.
Players Association?
100%.
That's how you get coaches hating
They
you.
could use that in contract talks, couldn't they? Like,
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
But wouldn't it come down to whatever your numbers are? Like during the games, right?
This guy's dogging it in practice every day. We have the data to show it.
I wouldn't put
You
it
would
past
not
them
like
to
it.
do that.
What are you talking about? You would have hated it.
Yeah, O would have battled back on that.
You'd be like, I scored 40 goals. Forget it.
Well,
Peter Laviolette hated my guts because I wouldn't put my chin strap on. Imagine if it came down to like a heart rate monitor. Every day he skated up to me, you got to put your chin strap on, man. It's dangerous being out here. And I was like, Peter, it's the National Hockey League, and I've practiced for 10 years without a chin strap. I'm fine. And he just it started to just... And then one day he pulled me aside and says, I really don't like you, and I hate the way you talk to me about your chin strap.
You were like his George Costanza. It just
I don't
he
know what it
couldn't
was.
take
I really respected him as a coach, but Hayes, as you know, I have a difficult time with authority, and I was just like, there was times where I thought we were going to come to blows on the ice, like just a scrap with the coach.
That would
And
be
that would have
something.
been like, I just knew I was on my way out of there, and he was the new guy in the scene, and it was just like,
Yeah. Yeah, refusing to put your heart rate monitor on, I don't think a lot of coaches would like that. They would
well,
fight back on that.
somebody would say, hey, where is this in the collective bargaining agreement?
And that seems reasonable. You may have brought up something here, Jonas.
I think
that-
it has been talked about. I don't
Yeah.
know for sure, but
I don't know. I mean, they track what you're doing in the gym. There's a lot of
they
different
track
things.
everything. You should see the players come off the ice. They take off their heart rate monitor.
Yeah. Well, and they're
Hands
tracking your
to-
sleep and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. But again, if everyone's doing it and everyone's got great heart rate monitors,
No, but
it's not going to change anything if everyone is doing the same thing and practicing the same way. You
If they
understand
ever
what I'm saying?
tracked
Like
my sleep back in the day, there would have been problems.
that would be interesting. We've noticed you're going to sleep at a ridiculous time every single night.
But can you imagine if like they had like the little heart monitor on the TSN broadcast of the coach and it just showed it spiking?
I think that'd be great TV. That's what I'm saying. Like Craig Berube after they scored their second
yeah,
goal last night.
it's like an alarm goes off.
Yeah. Let's see where your heart rate is. All right, Luke Willson coming in. Thursday night or tonight, Week 7, Denver in New Orleans. Lots of great games this weekend. We'll look ahead to them with Luke. He'll join us in studio. Now his brother will join us. Hayes and Bro on the clock tonight. We are even, and Hayes and Bro has a chance to take a lead tonight.
Hey, possible statement from Doogie on what's gone on and how it all went down. I don't know if he has the stones to read it. Possible statement from Doogie
All
on
right.
the actual truth on how we tanked this away.
Doogie is shaking his head and saying he will not partake in that.
Then
Doogie
he is a
not
gutless
willing to do
weasel
that. No,
because
he's
he
not.
knows-
Doogie's
Yeah,
a man
he
of
is.
integrity.
No, he
Doog-
isn't.
No, yes, he is. All right, we'll challenge Doogie. We'll get to the bottom of what you're talking
I'll
about.
read it. How about that?
You can read it if need be. Luke coming in. Al's brother coming up. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.
If you smell what the Win Wilson is cooking.
All right, Luke Willson in here. Wounded, man.
No.
Wounded.
No, that's not true.
You just don't look and feel the same, man. I miss the old Luke was rambunctious.
That's
and
not
full of
true.
energy, and we've just beaten you down, and I'm sad. I'm honestly sad that we're beating
It's
you
a
down.
tale as old as time. I got jammed up by kickers. Once again, I've been getting jammed up by kickers for decades.
Yeah, I know. They are the worst. Kickers are the worst. You would agree with that, Jonas, right?
I
You hate
would,
kickers.
but can we clarify? Did you pick against the Chiefs? Was I
Yeah,
wrong?
Saints Chiefs, they took the points with the Saints at Arrowhead.
Yeah, it was,
Jonas
it
was
was a big spread.
disgusted.
It was
by
a
that.
big
was watching
spread.
Like
that
5.5
very
or
upset.
something.
It was a big spread.
Yeah, you were disgusted.
You
by
never bet against Patrick Mahomes.
That.
right?
Yes,
Come
you're
on.
right about that.
Ever.
Depending. Yes, it was a bad pick. That was the worst
That's
pick, but
tough.
that was that last.
That was
That
a
was
couple weeks ago.
That was a couple weeks
ago.
back.
Sunday night, I think it was.
Yeah.
Haven't you guys gone downhill since?
We've gone downhill since.
Rapidly.
There's a lot of things going on in the background right now that I'm working on something. Yeah, there October
Oh, it was a
7th.
Monday nighter a couple weeks ago.
Again, we 5.5. We moved on from that. Greg Zuerlein, the kicks jammed us.
That hurt.
Chase Brown he's a young kid in the league.
Should've
not
taken a knee.
getting down and finishing the game,
You should have taken it.
which would have covered the spread, jammed us.
Good Canadian boy, though. You got to support him racking up some
Artsy, at
stats.
the end of the day, I believe the first half, by the way, you forgot.
Now, see, these guys are out of sorts, man.
No.
Out of sorts.
I just need to say this is the only statement I'm going to make because Doogie is minus 30 at the No Balls Open golf tournament, and he refuses to read his statement.
I agree.
Like knowingly handing layups to Hayes and Bro to get them back in the game. We had a meeting with Doogie. We said this isn't fun anymore. It's not entertainment. People are turning it off because we're so far ahead. Doogie did what he needed to do, but he's got no stones to read the statement. Anyway,
Doogie, you got another chance. You've got another chance, Doogie.
You do. And I believe our performance thus far, and a lot of it is on you, Parts. You have to own this a little bit. We got a little too confident, and we got a little too creative.
Little too cute.
Little too cute. And we both know, as former professional athletes, too cute doesn't win.
I agree, Partsy. And you look at it, and this is where I still have a lot of confidence. Everything you said, I couldn't be more on board with. And you look at the banner right now. We're 9-9, which for us is an atrocious record. It's awful.
It is.
It's terrible.
9-9. 8-8-1.
Hayes and Bot Farm, the Geppetto Farm, is 8-8-1, and that is unbelievable for them. These guys, if they pick it right tonight, will have their first lead in 3 years. I think if they win tonight, they should go out and get rings, like championship, like, hey, finally, it's been 3 years coming.
New York Rangers, hang your banner, the regular season champions.
Not even that. Just, hey, we once had a lead in the last 3 years.
Okay. Listen, don't give us any ideas. We'll see. Al's brother will join us here in a few moments, and I'll see what he has to say.
But, Partsy, I agree. I'm locked back in. I watched a lot of All 22 this week.
Yeah.
Well, again, there it is. There it is. That's the tweet right there.
You're calling for a choke job starting. How do you call this game, though, tonight? You don't have to give a pick.
You know how you don't call it?
Denver, New Orleans.
You don't call it by texting the group chat saying, there's a fire in my building and I can't come on.
I know. I'm scared about that.
Partsy, O-Dog, Al's brother comes in and says, I can't pick tonight because there's a fire in my apartment.
He's trying to get out. He is. It is concerning.
Some people don't want to be
There's
great.
going to be a pic of Al's brother playing with matches in the hallway starting the fire.
He is nervous about success. I do worry about that because he could step into a completely different atmosphere tonight.
Yes.
So you're telling me he's not coming on today?
No, he's going to come on. We'll get
I
him
will
in a
say,
minute.
if you don't pick this is your moment.
Well, it feels like Denver is in the driver's seat, but as a road favorite. I mean, again, and this is Bo Nix because he's actually playing. Spencer Rattler, we believe, will get the start for New Orleans. Do you buy into the Sean Payton return? Like, does that mean anything if you're in the room? Like, if you're a Bronco, it means nothing for you.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Like, it's funny, but in the media, and I'm just as guilty now, but we love to drum up these, like, storylines. This isn't, like, Windsor versus London hockey, or I don't know what the GTA rivalry is, Oakville versus somebody. It's like these guys, like, you could be on New Orleans one day, you could be on Denver the next. Like, nobody really cares about that kind of stuff.
What about Sean Payton, though? Well, there'll be some
Sean
nostalgia
Payton, sure.
tonight.
I'm sure it's going to be a bit weird, but, 3 plays into the game, he's got a job to do here. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's on the quote-unquote hot seat, but I don't think it's the most comfortable seat he's ever been on in his life. Let's say when he was coaching the Saints.
Yep.
Like, he's got to come out here and
it felt that way anyway.
He's got to come out here and find a way to win this game, especially on a short week against, a team that's really beat up.
Well, and Denver's 3-3, which to me is a bit of a surprise.
The Jets win was a big one. Bo Nix has not been great. He looks better than he did at the beginning of the year. But, you're in obviously a tough division with the Chiefs. I don't think anyone gives them a chance at catching up there.
Well, they're not going to win them, but can they keep up with the Chargers?
And can they, if they can squeeze out a win tonight, you said Chargers, Vegas is in there another time. It's like, hey, we get to that point, and maybe we're in contention for a wild card. I think 9 wins might do it.
I think that
9 wins might do it.
Maybe on both sides, but you look at the NFC. And that NFC North, for the first time, I want to say in NFL history, all 4 teams have 4 wins through 6 weeks.
Yeah, best division football by far.
Best division by far. But they can't possibly all get in because they're going to play each other so much down the stretch.
And I'm sorry, Bears fans, but the outlier here is Chicago.
You think it's Chicago? Caleb Williams looked good the last couple of weeks.
But, I mean, he looked good against Jacksonville in London. And you got a player, I believe it was Cisco, says after the game, Jaguars safety, that there was a lot of quit. For a player to come in after
Insane
the game
comment, dude.
and say, what's going on there? Well, basically, we're all quitting.
Yeah.
That's
rough.
a toxic locker room right there. So I'm happy that Caleb's looking better. I don't know if I'm ready to put the stamp like, hey, this is last year's C.J. Stroud. But Chicago's got to play Detroit twice, Minnesota twice, and Green Bay twice, which they could win some of those games. They could easily go 0-6. So, but I think the other three teams are really legit teams.
Yeah, I think
very legit.
Those three are going to the playoffs. And the Lions, like Aiden Hutchinson being out for the year, that is a massive hit, man.
And we talked a bit about this earlier, but what's tough about the situation with the Lions right now, and where I get most worried, is that they are, to a fault, and it drives me bonkers, but this is what we do, we don't care. They go for it on fourth down. They run 10 million trick plays when there's absolutely no reason to risk that. They play man coverage on defense. For better or for worse. They're getting cooked, we're playing man. We're doing well, we're playing man. And part of the way they can play this man coverage is you've got a guy like Aiden Hutchinson, when you can rush 4, and he's going to get pressure. I mean, he's obviously leading the league in sacks. I should say.
His stats across the board are outrageous.
Incredible. And it's like we can play man behind this because we have a guy who's a potential defensive MVP who's getting pressure. And now you don't have that guy. And you can't just sit here and say, next man up. There's no next man up for Aiden Hutchinson. He's that good. He is that good at football. And my thought process would be, okay, I actually think the Lions back end, now they're a little banged up. Carlton Davis did not practice today. Brian Branch was listed as a limited guy yesterday, but he was full participant today, which is good. But it's like they don't have a great secondary. It's not as bad, I think, as everyone thinks. But I sit here and say to myself, we've got to adjust. We've got to adjust because we've lost our best player. But I don't think they're going to do it. I think that they're going to come out here and be like,
the same way.
We're playing the same way with or without Hutch.
Right.
And Kevin O'Connell, I should probably not say this anymore because I don't know who has this game. But Kevin O'Connell had Nick Mullins throwing for 400 yards against this defense last year.
Right.
With a healthy Jordan Addison.
Coming off a bye.
Minnesota's Justin Jefferson. Sam Darnold looks great this year.
Yep.
It's like this could be one of those things where, the Minnesota's defense needs a couple stops and they find a way to get a win.
All right, my partner will join us here in a moment. It looks like Sunday Night Football, the Steelers are going with Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
They're 4-2. Do you approve of that move? What do you make of that decision?
I do, and I know I'm in the minority for this, Hayes, but where I go to here is, first and foremost, you can't question Mike Tomlin. And what I mean by that is this guy he beats his own drum. He has the owner's not coming in and saying we paid Russ $1 million or $20 million. We got to do it. They're paying Russ $1.2 million. Is that it? 1.3.
Yeah, because of the buyout, they didn't have to give him anything.
Correct. They're not giving him anything. And his
last
big
shot
saying,
parts. It's his last shot. Last
also,
gasp.
I think if I'm Mike Tomlin, O-Dog, what I see here is Justin Fields struggles to throw the ball down the field. He says, his whole saying is the standard is a standard. Well, the standard is we need to find a way to get George Pickens the ball down the field. Freiermuth, same thing. This guy's a very, very good tight end. So I sit here, and if you are Mike Tomlin, then you're like, yeah, we're 4-2, but there's a huge but. We're in a division with the Baltimore Ravens, who are absolutely humming right now. They've won 4 straight. Lamar and Derrick Henry look unbelievable. They look it's crazy what they're doing offensively there. At some point, we need to be able to push the ball down the field. And I'm not saying it's going to happen this week with Russ against the Jets. Could happen. But I think in the long run, Russ will give them a better chance of winning than Justin Fields is right now. Yes, they're 4-2, but I think they were 2-0 the first week with first 2 weeks.
Well, it was like 15-10 and 13-7.
Correct. I think they had one offensive touchdown.
Yeah,
they're winning in spite of their offense.
That's valid.
So I see where he's like, hey, I would take this if I'm a Steelers fan as a message like Mike Tomlin thinks this team can do some damage in the playoffs. Because if he didn't, he'd keep Fields in there to keep developing.
Yeah, he's a younger guy.
But right now he's saying, hey, we got a shot here. Mike Tomlin, who has been arguably the best coach over the last decade, super under the radar, is saying, we've got a shot to do some damage in the playoffs. Let's get a veteran guy in here who's going to throw the ball more accurately. He's not going to be as electric scrambling. And let's get this guy more comfortable and win some ball games and give us a shot, which I got to think you got to respect it. Speaking of things I don't got to respect.
Well, you're talking about winners. talking about Mike Tomlin, the Mike Tomlin of gambling right now.
Let's give him a round of applause for showing up today.
Al's brother.
Oh, is he going to come on? Uh-oh.
Is he in a wetsuit? There he is. Oh, the plant survived. That's good. How we feeling, Al's brother?
The NutriBullet's still there. I love it.
Oh, yeah. Luke, you better put some respect on my name, brother, because what we've been up to the last couple of weeks, I mean, people around the globe are starting to respect Hayes and Bro.
No, they're
and you'll
not.
Be next
They
up
are.
to do it.
You're right.
You guys have not had a lead in 3 years. If you win it at your +1 and you're acting like this is the greatest feat of all time.
Al's brother, do you want to respond to that? I mean, I don't even think it needs a response, but go ahead.
10-2 the last 2 weeks. 10-2
That's right.
over the last 2 weeks. I think that's all we need to state.
Thank you,
That's
Al's brother.
including our losses. You did not call
Yeah.
10 wins.
Well, we've called 5. We've called what? What are we, 3-0 last week and 2-1 the week before?
That's right.
Something like
That's
that.
right.
Yeah, I mean, we're on an outrageous heater. We're feeling good. We're seeing the board. People want to be in business with us. Al's brother's going to all these like card depots, and people can't stop talking to him.
This is going to come crashing down here.
No, it's not.
I promise you.
What's the spread?
Kickers can only miss so many kicks and jam us. We're about to go on a tear.
All right.
Starts tonight.
Broncos land 2.5 on FanDuel. It's at 2.5. In some books, it's moved to 3. I'd love FanDuel's got this at 2.5. Al's brother, where are we at?
I love it too, Hazy B, because that's the spot where I want to be. It's a gross game, right? You got 2 rookie quarterbacks, short week, both teams coming in super banged up, but especially the New Orleans Saints on the offensive side of the football. Sounds like Derek Carr going to miss the game again tonight. Rashid Shaheed is out. Chris Olave is out. Kamara questionable. He got a 5th-round rookie.
Kamara's not questionable. He's playing.
Kamara's probably going to play.
He's
but
going
that's
to play,
fine.
but he's banged up. And he's playing with Spencer Rattler, who's got no weapons, going up against the league's most aggressive defense in the NFL with the highest blitz rate, the best pass rushing win rate in the NFL, averaging 3.8 sacks per game.
Win rate again.
This is going to be a difficult game for young Spencer Rattler. You know who's going to be absolutely all over it tonight? My guy, our guy, Hazy B. Zach Allen has been an absolute dog this year. He's getting a serious push from the interior, shrinking that pocket for opposing quarterbacks. He's got a 44% passer win rate, ranking second behind only Aiden Hutchinson. In QB pressures, he's number 1 in the league. I think he's going to have an outstanding game.
Agree.
Why? Because Cesar Ruiz, injured, banged up center. He's going to make life hell for Rattler tonight. As for the Broncos, I like Bo Nix. I think he's playing well. He's starting to push the ball down the field. Back-to-back games, 200 yards, 2 tuds.
200 yards. He's playing well, Hayes.
That's enough against this Spencer Rattler kid.
That's all you need.
He looked good last week.
That's all
I thought he
you
looked
need.
better than Derek Carr.
It doesn't matter. Spencer Rattler, he doesn't have what it takes on a short week. And Patrick Surtain out, like you mentioned, concussion protocol. That's big. I mean, that's maybe the best corner in the league, close to it. I mean, that's a significant hit.
Yeah.
But I like this
Who are
play.
they covering?
Exactly.
Who are they
Not
covering?
covering anybody anyway. Send the house all night. That's precisely what's going to happen. You know Peyton's going to cook up an offensive game plan that's going to put Bo Nix in a very good place tonight.
Just say it. Let it ride.
Let's
ride.
ride.
That's right. We're laying the points.
Broncos Nation,
Lock it
let's
in.
ride.
Let's ride. Broncos laying 2.5 on the road. And this is where it begins. This is where we leave you in our dust, and we never look back.
Parts, you
Right,
got to be
Parts?
honest. You would
That's
make the
right.
same play, wouldn't you?
No, I wouldn't. Partsy.
Dude, be honest with
I'm
me,
being
man.
honest here. You got to look at this game. It's the worst matchup of the NFL.
It's an awful game.
Okay, it's terrible. It's a short week.
Al Michaels
Okay,
be so
how
mad
much film
tonight.
how much film do the Broncos have to study on Spencer Rattler? Hardly anything. You look at Clint Kubiak, the OC for New Orleans. Listen, everybody's out. We're going to throw away our playbook. We're going to change all our tendencies. Rattler's a different guy. In a gross game, you always go with the team. It's 2.5 points. This is going to be a 1-point game. This is going to come down to some weird double doink at the end of the game.
It might.
It's gross here.
It is gross.
You take the 2.5. You go with the Saints. It's fundamental picking. I thought you guys were gamblers.
Listen, I understand.
Hey.
You're not wrong in the home dog in a bad game, Alice brother. But I think Denver at 3-3 with Sean Payton. I'll take it. And all those injuries. I think it's a smart play.
That's right. And technically, if you want to look at the last few years, the Saints 2-9 against the spread as home dogs since 2020. So they
I
have
don't
not
want
been
to
a
look
good
at that.
team to back at home.
Tremendous
That's not
information.
any information that's relevant. for this
Tremendous
game.
information. Was not lost in the fire. It's all good. Right, Alice brother? Everything okay with you?
We
What's
are all
going on?
good.
Everyone all right? It was just a false alarm? Everyone knew you were coming on the show?
There was a fire. There was a fire. It was on the 3rd floor,
Oh,
and
that's scary.
I think everyone's all good. The fire
good.
department got here. They extinguished it. I think we're all set here.
Okay,
so
good.
I don't think there were anything lost out there.
Good to hear. I thought it was just a false alarm. I didn't realize it was actually something going on in the building. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Positive thoughts. Everyone's okay. The Chia Pet, it survived behind you. What is that called? The magic bullet? That thing's
the magic
humming?
bullet. It's
Everything-
Yeah, whatever it is, the ninja. The ninja.
Everything's coming together for Hayes and Bro. We take a lead tonight, and we do not look back. Al's brother, great information, tremendous information. Great
Thanks,
seeing you.
Partsy.
TG for
Parts
life.
back on the saddle
TG.
tonight.
Yeah.
Here we go. Let's go.
Big run starts tonight.
All right, Lukey, good seeing it.
Let's
buddy.
ride.
Luke Willson, Al's brother. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. All right, Pierre LeBrun coming up. Hazy B's list at 6:30. We just heard from Al's brother, and Al's brother was at his apartment, but when he was recording this clue, he was somewhere else in the city. Are you ready for this? Because Al's brother, we have sent him somewhere in the city with a pair of Leaf tickets, and I believe this is the last clue for the week. You ready to hear from Al's brother?
Go for it.
Okay, for your last and final clue for Leafs Lightning tickets on Monday, October 21st, all I'm going to tell you is this. Choo choo.
Interesting. Al's brother. All right. So there it is. That's
He's
the
at
last clue.
Union Station.
Is that what you're calling? You think it's at Union? I mean, that would make a lot of sense. But tomorrow when you hear the cue to call, first caller through with the correct location wins a pair of tickets. See Leafs Lightning Monday night. Full details at tsn1050.ca.
That's a good game.
That's a
Excited
great
for
game.
that game.
Rangers Saturday, Lightning Monday.
Yeah, and then Columbus on Tuesday, I think.
Is it? Then they hit the road. Don't they? I haven't really looked over their
Well,
schedule.
no, then they come home and they play St. Louis, and then they go on the road again.
Okay.
Are they in Columbus on Tuesday
Yeah.
or
They always
They
seem
always
to play.
seem to back Columbus.
Yeah, it's always home and then on the road to Columbus.
Pack it on.
Yeah, just sneak in that game. Go play Columbus. All right. Final hour coming up. Pierre LeBrun will join us. Hazy B's list. Best bets. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.